Well, what we have here is a 1969 Chevelle. You know, like the one in Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby. Just like that one. It's basically finished, you know. It needs a steering wheel, obviously, and a dashboard and gauges, but other than that, and a wiring harness and taillights and a drive shaft, it's basically done. We still need a cooling system and hook up the AC, and you know, we're at the finish line, essentially, besides the windshield and glass and a full interior. So, as you can see, we've almost got this thing on the road. Well, and also interior door handles. Yeah. Okay. And a throttle pedal. But other than that, and some brake lines and a fuel tank, it's ready to go. So I'm, you know, hoping in the next week or two, we'll be cruising down the road. It'll be fun. So bumpers. I got to write that down. I need some bumpers. So this week, it's going to be a little shorter week, so we won't finish the car this week. But I've got to go out of town for a few days. So it'll just be, you know, what I can get done in that amount of time, plus packing, is what I will do. And then, you know, we'll just come back and start again the week after that. So I have got some exciting, to me, cars that are coming in the shop. Well, later, eventually. You know, I'm not going to spill the beans. I'm just saying, you know, it'll be fun. We'll have a good time. So I think what I'm going to do is work on some routing and just a few small things on this. And then it's going to be a random series of events. Hopefully not unfortunate events. But you just never know. Oh, well, before I get started on finishing this car, I think I just probably need some more coffee. You want some? Let's go drink some coffee first. Think about things. All right then, I am at a standstill on the Impala. This is kind of typical. Well, really on any project. You might be doing a home repair project. I don't know. But I need a part that I don't have, and so I can't go forward. But let's walk over to the Impala and I'll show you what I've been up to. So, as you could see, what I was doing was replacing the seals on the front of this quarter window, replacing the roof rail seals that go all the way down to there. And I also replaced the seal, this one here. And you ask, I can hear you asking, why didn't you just replace that one too while you were at it? Well, smarty pants, I forgot I ordered them. And after I installed that one, the next day I was walking around and noticed the other seals sitting on the shelf. Oh yeah, I ordered those. So, I mean, these didn't look too bad. They weren't cracked. I guess I'll show you. You don't have to look at my face. You know, they still have some rubberiness in them. But they are old, and and I bought them. So let's put them in. Well, right, let's just walk back over here. Well, I gather my thoughts while I walk. So I put the new seals in this one, and they give you these little, where are they? Here they are. These little rivets and a little weirdo rivet tool. So you put the rivets in on this side here, and they, you know, then you squish it and hammer it on this side. There's two of them. I had to zip off to separate this from itself. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take something like this. It's like a countersunk screw. And we will put it in here. Something like that. And it'll be a shorter one, obviously, or I'll zip this one off. And then I'm going to use a polylock nut on the back of it. There aren't any clearance issues, nothing like that. That won't come apart. Those polylock nuts are, you know, notorious for staying together. And also, I think I'll get a firmer, it'll be a better situation. And I'm using stainless hardware and stuff, so it won't rust. Anyway, but the reason we're at a standstill is to access those, I had to take out this glass run channel. And as you can see, it's not really in the best of shape. I don't know why I didn't order this too, but I just called the customer and he agreed to, it made sense. He said, yeah, definitely. Do that, it's out, it's easy, and we can have new, the glass won't like rattle in its cage there. So anyway, waiting for that to come in. So you ask, because I can hear you asking. You know who you are. Why don't you take this one out, you know, and get it ready so then when you get the felts, you can just put those in, button them together, and you're done. Well, yeah, I used to do that. You know, and it's not the wrong way. You know, blow the project apart, order the parts you need, and put it back together when you get them. Problem with that, for me, is sometimes I don't remember how it came apart if it's been too long of a time. You know, it's been a week, it's been a month. And it's very nice to have a reference. So this door is my reference. It's not going to take me any more or less time. It's just when I do it. So I will put that door, the one that's apart, completely together once the felt comes in. And then if I forget something or I'm like, I have this extra screw, I don't remember where it went, I can come over to this door, take the door panel off, and take a peek, and then compare. Like, oh yeah, that's where it goes. And yeah, it actually ends up being a time saver. So that's just a little tip. You can take it or leave it. But I am not an encyclopedia of knowledge. No offense if you are an encyclopedia of knowledge. My brain just sometimes randomly deletes information that it thinks isn't important. And most of the time it isn't, but sometimes it is. So I just have to live with that. Okay, so enough of the Impala. We'll wait for those parts to come in. Let me update you on Mr.E. So I had a meeting with the owner of this car last night, and we went over a few things, one of which was the headers, which, if you remember, they hit on this cross member right here, and that little all thread there poking out. Yeah, they can't sit down flat. So we decided we're going to clearance these headers a little bit, and then also, if that doesn't get me everything that I need, I can trim away a little bit on that bracket, and we can reinforce it later if we need to. So I have a path forward on that. The Hydro Boost system, I've gotten it mocked up, installed, and also you can barely see under there. That's the master for the clutch. It's the clutch, you know, hydraulic clutch, doodadders, whatever. Just making up words. It's a doodadder. So I'm mocking up the pedals on the inside and trying to get this where it goes so I can figure out where I'm running brake lines and also power steering lines. We won't have a power steering cooler, so I'll be able to tie it into my Hydro Boost and my pump and my rack, and it'll all be fine. So I've got my wiring harness for the engine mocked up. I think I'm going to be routing these behind the fender here with the fuse box and ECU. And then in this hole here, I'm going to create a plate on the back side of it. And that in that plate will be mounted this. So this is like a pass-through for AC lines and heater lines. And so for my air conditioning system, I'll have my AC and heater lines running through behind the fender here, and then into here, all that. So anyway, all just making a plan. I just wanted to kind of catch you up on it. And so, you know, when I'm speeding around doing work, you can be like, oh yeah, we talked about that. So I'm getting a pile of parts in tomorrow or Monday, or Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. Whatever day it is, it could, one of the days that ends in Y, I'm going to get a pile of parts for Mr.E, so I can keep going on them. So that's the news. Let me get back to work. I just figured I'd take you in on this door. I've got the seals in, the quarter window in, everything's bolted up. But, you know, because old cars, and if you've ever owned one or ever want to own one, understand that when you work on it, you're working on something that, I don't know, maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years of people have worked on before you. So you might find missing hardware. You might find broken hardware. You might find broken things that were temporarily fixed permanently. There's just things that might need to be undone or just ignored completely because there's no coming back from it. But anyway, this is a very small example of that. So to mount these vent windows in, there's a bolt here, and that bolts in the top of this piece, and then there's this piece that comes down here to this bolt, and then there's the glass run channel that runs down to here. And these are, I don't know, engineered in such a way that there's a fixed washer behind the door here, so you can essentially, with this slot, screw that in or out to try to get that window run channel located properly. That way the window comes up, it's staying in the channel, it's not trying to come out either way. So there's that adjustment, but this one here is also an adjustment. It just threads straight into there and has a fixed washer on the back, so you can set the distance that this sits in the door, which locates this top corner forward and back. So when I opened the door up, there was 0% hardware in here. It was just gone. So whoever put it together the last time, maybe it broke, maybe they forgot, whatever, it happens. So what I did is I took it's quarter 20, and I had some stainless long hardware. I just cut the head off of it, put a polylock nut with a washer on the back, and just kind of set that at a predetermined height, so then I could screw the whole thing in or out just depending on where I needed this to locate, and then you just tighten it down on the outside with a big washer. So happens, you know, it's one of those things. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, all I have to do is put the panel on and the door handles and armrest and all that, and this is done. So also, look who just showed up, Mr. Mustang without a name. So we'll probably be working on him, but not till next week. So we'll, this calls it quits on the Impala. Super cool car though. I love it. It's a car that gets enjoyed all summer long and does not sit, you know, it sits all winter, or if it's broken, it sits, but otherwise the owner drives it, and I love that. So I guess we'll come back over here after I finish that. I've got to set the radiator and the condenser. We got to do some line routing and figuring out still. So anyway, we'll get back to that. Just figured I'd show you a little bit on the Impala. I just figured maybe you'd want to hear it running. Get it out in the sunlight, you know, it's always just a little bit different. Well, I figured I'd bring you in here on kind of what I've been doing on Mr.E. The Impala's gone, dropped it off, and well, got the Mustang in. I've got another car coming a little bit later that you won't see today, but hopefully it'll be in the shop soon. So, but let's take a peek here. So I just kind of wanted to explain what I'm doing here. I've got the condenser and dryer for the air conditioning kind of mocked up. Vintage Air makes the mounts for specific cars, this one in particular. And also a mount for the dryer to go on. However, this system was meant for a Chevelle with a, you know, period correct engine, where the air conditioner would be over here on this side and mine is over here. So I can't use all of the hard lines because the one that went from there comes out on this side. And then the extra lines I had, it wouldn't really work. So what I've done is again, haven't decided whether to put the dryer here or inside somewhere. This would be the simplest solution because I have the mounts and it's there. So then you have your ports coming out here, and this is where I'm thinking about having them go through the core support, just kind of down and in that way. So that way I can have a line coming straight to here, and the other line would be going, you know, to the unit, and then a line would be coming out, going into there. So that way we can keep things behind the fender. We have a little bit happening right here, but you know, you can't avoid that. It's just gonna be. So that's just mocked up for now. This is just set in there. You know, you have to see how things fit together. Otherwise you might make a decision and hard mount something, and then you go to mount the next thing and you're like, oh, well, that's not gonna work. Then you have 20 extra holes, you know. It's never happened to me before, but I've heard of it, you know. Word to the wise. And yeah, so that's why I do that. I did note that the hole down here where it's supposed to mount, there's a bracket that goes here, you know, that the hood latch is on, and then the grill mounts to, and all of that. And this is supposed to line up with that, but it does not, which again, even things that are made for other things, aftermarket, a lot of times you have to modify them. So not really a surprise. Also, so this is the Hydro Boost system, braking system. Wildwood has kind of a bracket for the distribution block that it all mounts as one piece. Hopefully I can get it to work, but my lines coming out the bottom of the distribution block are really close to this inner fender. So, but that's down the road, but it's something that I'm noting. And then I'm just kind of mocking up where possibly I might route the lines. So this Hydro Boost runs off of the power steering. So basically you run high pressure, you know, out of your pump, through your Hydro Boost, back to your steering box. So the pump is running both things. And we're not running a power steering cooler or anything. So all these lines are just kind of laid in here with my fittings, just kind of like, that could work, whatever. I may not even use these lines. We'll see if the owner of the car wants them. He mentioned he might not like the way they look. We might go with black braided lines. I don't know, we'll see. But I wanted to kind of see where that's gonna go. We've got all of the, not all, a bunch of the harness plugged in, and some of it not, obviously, because I don't have the intake, and that's the, you know, the MAF plug, which I'll have to put in line somewhere over here. I think the intake's gonna come out and kind of sit over here, the air filter. So, what else? I haven't started beating on the headers yet. I'm also mocking up, well, where do I want, for instance, the ECU or ECM. I'm thinking about putting it here. It would be kind of somewhat visible with the fender, but tucked in enough so you're not seeing all, you know, the plugs and stuff. And of course, my lines are going to come out here too. I have to consider that. I'm limited by the length of, you know, the harness. Limited in two ways. One, if it's not long enough to go where I want it to go, I have to find a different place. If it's too long, note this loop, to go where I want it to go, you know, you can shorten these, but I'm not going to. I'm just not going to. So, at least at this point. But all of this would be behind the fender anyway, bracketed in. You'd never know it was there, doesn't matter. It also gives you a little extra if you need, you know, to pull this out or whatever. So, this is the fuse box or relay center. It says right on it, it's a relay center. So, I don't know how it's gonna go yet. The battery, if the battery goes here, how does it all work? Again, you kind of have to play with it and see, and then one day you're laying in bed and it's 2 in the morning and your eyes pop open and you have a genius idea. But it's only because you've been working on it for a long time. So I'm waiting for the genius idea to hit me. Right now, we're just plotting and planning, and this is the time it takes. It's the process. So if you just want to throw an engine in whatever, let's say I LS swapped the rib over there, and I want it to look nice, but also not a show car. I want you to open the hood, see it's got an LS, but I'm not, like a car like this, you're concerned about the art of it, you know, the beauty of it, as well as the functionality of it. So, whereas that car, I would be more concerned about the functionality of it, because right now, if you open the hood, not really beautiful. It's just an engine with a bunch of vacuum lines and hoses and, you know, whatnots and whatever. So it's a little bit different on a car that you're trying to make the engine bay pleasing to the eyes as you open the hood versus just a place where things happen. So I'm trying to walk the line on this one because we don't want to spend too much time so you have a lot of expense in making something beautiful that isn't really going to affect the value of it. Since this car will probably be, you know, sold to some lucky buyer. The buyer might not care how things are routed, you know, as long as it works really well as it, you know, as it will. But you know, if it looks like a crayon drawing by a 5-year-old, that will affect the value of it. So I'm trying to, you know, graduate from crayon drawings here. It's just creativity. That's all it is. So, all right, that's the news. I've got all of my tables of stuff kind of gathered around. You know, gather around, everyone. We're building something, and parts and pieces and stuff. So it's a fun process. I really enjoy it quite a bit, and it'll be super neat to see how this turns out. This is my Nürburgring cup. I actually bought this at the Nürburgring. I had a chance a few years ago to go to Germany, and one of the highlights of my life was driving on the Nürburgring. I want to go back. I wasn't a, you know, I was a slow driver. There's some crazy people. You know, the Nürburgring is essentially a public road. It's not, you know, I mean, it's limited access. You have to, you know, pay to get onto it. But the rules are, you know, pass on the left, give way for faster cars. Yeah, and it's a one-way, obviously, so stay to the right. However, it's not, they're not policing it. So it's kind of like in Germany, I learned that they don't have any open container laws. So you can have an open beer in the car with you. You can be drinking it on the Autobahn, doing 100 miles an hour. No problem. Where they drop the hammer is you can't be drunk. So whatever their alcohol limit is, if you get pulled over or if you're in a wreck or whatever and you know they breathalyze you, or well, you are in a world of hurt. It's not just pretend hurt. It's like lose your license, probably lose your car, whatever, lose your job. I don't know. It's just not great. You know, which makes sense to me. So the Nürburgring is like that in that, well, if you crash your car and do damage to the, you know, retaining wall or whatever, you have to pay for it. You know, so it's kind of self-policing. Nobody wants an expensive day at the track, but pretty much every day at the track is an expensive day if you can afford to be there. So, anyway, I don't know how I got off on that. I guess my Nürburgring coffee cup. Love to go back. Love visiting racetracks. There's something like a historic track. There's something hallowed about it because of the men and women who have, you know, raced there historically, risked their lives for the love of the sport, and there's just something about it. So anyway, it's just me geeking out. I love that kind of thing. I'm not a race car driver. I wish that I was a race car driver. So, I just love cars. I love racing and all that kind of thing. So, speaking of cars and driving, I am dreaming of driving this Riviera. But you know, got to pull the engine, got to do all that stuff first. I did talk to, I've got a friend that does paint work and can do touch-up work, and he is going to do this, you know, where it's kind of chipping away or whatever in a few places. He's going to do that spot repair for me, so that once I do get the engine up and running, yeah, it's going to be, if you look closely at the paint, well, it'll polish up nice, but it's not show quality or anything. It's just a very, very, like, it'll turn heads going down the road. But, you know, once you get up and look at it, you're like, oh yeah, it's got some road rash, you know, which makes it the perfect cruiser, perfect car to take out on a summer evening or run errands with on a weekend or what. You know what? It's just a great car for everyday use, except that it doesn't run. You know, there's that, I guess. Well, I said this would be a little bit shorter, not so much being accomplished because I have to leave town. But when I get back, yeah, we'll try to hit the ground running and see what we can get done. Maybe we'll have some new projects in the shop. I know, got Mr.E to finish. Who am I kidding? Make progress on. I've got this 90 Mustang with no name to button up so he can get it back to the dyno. And then possible another super fun car showing up. So I'm, again, super, super happy that you've decided to hang out with me here. And yeah, next time, who knows what will happen? Maybe nothing. Maybe something. I guess you'll have to find out.